Hi everyone, welcome back. So it's Monday. Let's get into the market, see what's going on there, along with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we're going to look at the miners, see how they did as well on the day. I didn't really look into them too much. I've been busy doing video for Riot and Core Scientific. That's already done. That should be uploaded and going live shortly. But we'll take a look at the miners, see how they did. We'll also take a look at October updates for Hive and Iris Energy. Intel's miners are coming in for Hive, so that's good news. Those should be in within the next 3 to 4 months. We'll take a look at all the details that they provided for us, and we'll call it a day. So as always, not financial advice. You guys know this. This is for entertainment only. I'm investing. Can't speak. I'm investing in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. All right, let's get into the markets here. So the S&P was up 0.96% today to 3,806. The Dow Jones was up 1.31% to 32,827, and the Nasdaq was up 1.11% to 10,977. Bitcoin, however, was down today. It was down 1.51%. It closed at 20,593. We are now in the new day, and we are up slightly 0.24% to 20,643. We are still looking pretty good on the daily chart right now as far as RSI is concerned. We're at 55. Last time we were right around here. Bitcoin price was lower at that point, so that's still good news there. We're still tracking higher, at least for now, on the daily chart. 4-hour chart looks the same way here. We are at 41 on the RSI. Last time we were back here. Bitcoin price was lower, so that's good news here. We're seeing the same thing on the 1-hour chart currently. Well, maybe not. Let me see. I didn't quite take a look at it earlier, so let's see what we got. Bitcoin on the 1-hour chart is at 43. Last time we were up here, even over here. So on the 1-hour chart, it's looking a little bit more bearish. At least right now, within the last couple hours, it has changed on us. So we'll have to see how this plays out, see if this trend continues on or if we get a reversal trend where it starts getting more bullish. But right now, it's looking a little bit bearish on the 1-hour chart. 4-hour and the daily chart looks looking okay. Ethereum is at 1,571. It was up a little bit today. On the chart, just barely was up. Well, looks like it was flat today, 0% on the chart. It closed at 1,568. We are now at 1,571 currently. And the same thing is looking for Ethereum right now. So let's take a look at the miners here. Sphere 3D was down 6.28% to 42 cents. Argo was down 14.35% to 9 cents. Bit Digital was up 1.83% to $1.11. Bitfarms was down 1.7% to 87 cents. And I did try to buy another 500 shares today. I haven't even checked to see if that order went through or not. But I did try to get that in at 87 cents. I don't know if I got through or not, but I did try. Let's see here. CleanSpark was up 3.3% to $3.13. Core Scientific was up 5.29% to 16 cents. DigiHost was up 9.11% to 83 cents, almost 84 cents. DMG was down 0.72% to 18 cents. GreenEdge was down to 3.38% to 78 cents. Hive was down 4.9% to $2.72. Hut 8 was actually up today 1.84% to $2.21. Iris Energy was flat at $2.79. Luxfolio was down 20% to 0.006 cents. Marathon was down 3.14% to $10.50. Mawson was down 2.24 to 43 cents. Riot was down 0.69 to $5.75. Soluna was down 0.96 to $1.03. Stronghold was down 0.5% to 81 cents. And that is it on those. It is starting to remind me of the market that we were in 2017 into 2018 into 2019 with Hive coming down to 8 cents. A lot of the other miners came down pretty low as well. So we're getting to that point where it's painful. And I try to dollar cost average as best I can. So that's kind of my thing to kind of weather the storm as best I can, I guess you could say. Okay, let's take a look at the network hash rate. Network hash rate has come down a little bit here to 264,203 terahashes per second. Right now it's at 266. We might be coming back up in the next couple weeks, I think, with more miners being installed, and depending on the other miners that have higher electricity costs, those might be shutting down, so it might kind of play as an equilibrium for a couple weeks, but we'll see how that's going to play out. Bitcoin is still 500 days away from its next halving event. It looks like it might be around March 22nd of 2024. Like I said before, I think once we get closer to it, within 6 to 9 months, I think Bitcoin's going to start going back up a little bit. So we still have some time where we're maybe trading sideways, unfortunately. But we'll see. Okay, here's our first story from Hive. Hive blockchain October 2022. Bitcoin production was 307 BTC and 3,311 BTC HODL on its balance sheet right now. So that is the first part here. Summary overview. Hive has a strong balance sheet with approximately 70 million USD of Bitcoin and no expensive borrowing against equipment like ASICs or GPUs, chips, or digital assets. So that's good. As you guys know, I do own Hive. I got into Hive back in 2017, 2018. So I've held on to it for that long period, and I'll probably continue to hold it until the next bull run, and then I'll obviously take some profits from Hive and some of the other miners that I have. Hive owns all of its ASICs and GPUs with a clear title. There are no debt servicing payments associated with any of our digital assets or crypto mining hardware, which is great. Hive has produced 307 Bitcoins in October from ASIC and GPU mining operations, representing an average 115 Bitcoin per exahash. Hive has received all 140 petahash of its micro BT-M30S++ miners, which are in the process of being installed. Currently, approximately 80 petahash have been installed, so they still have another 60 to go. And Hive expects to receive over 1 exahash of the Hive Intel Bitcoin ASIC miners' projected growth in the next 3 to 4 months with scheduled deliveries. So that's great news. This is what we want to see. We want to see them getting miners installed and growing their hash rate. This will get them close to 5 exahash just for their Bitcoin mining itself, if they don't turn off some of the older miners. Production figures. So 262 Bitcoin were produced from their ASIC mining. This is now with their GPU mining as well. 2.3 exahash is what they had at the end of October. An additional 45 Bitcoins were mined by our GPUs in October. So that got them to the 307 Bitcoins. It is unfortunately a lot lower than when they were mining Ethereum. Ethereum was very, very profitable for them. It has gone away. They did not provide any information as far as high compute numbers are concerned. So maybe we'll get something when they report their Q3 numbers. I think, well, that might be their Q4 numbers right now. But that would be great to see on that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else on here that I would like to know. Nope, that is it. We already covered this part of it. So yeah, the only thing is, what is their high computing? How is that doing? Like to have an update on that. But the basic information we do have from them, so we'll go through all the numbers that we do have. So Hive shares outstanding is about 80.9 million right now. Stock price is $2.72. Market cap is 220 million, which is way down from its all-time high, obviously. And the all-time high was $28 per share. Now, the current hash rate is at 2.3, almost 2.4 exahash. The future hash rate with the Intel miners, we're looking at approximately 4.9, almost 5 exahash on that. Current operationally, they are 48% installed. Future hash rate growth is 107% on them. Their hash rate average per miner is 86 terahashes on it. Their Bitcoin HODL is at 3,311, valued at approximately 65 million right now. HODL to market cap is 29.55%. Kind of on the high end, but being where the stock price is and how beaten down everything is, I can see why that's kind of high up there. Well, each share has about 80 cents in HODL position. And let's take a look at the stats that we do have for them. So during the beginning of the year, towards the middle, they were mining Ethereum as well as Bitcoin. That gave them a lot bigger production in Bitcoin than it currently does show. So they started the year out with 425. Then they went down to 377 in February, which was a couple of days shorter day. March was 447. April was 458. May was 459. June was 420. July was 465. August was 518. Nice jump there. And then September, we had the end of Ethereum mining that went to proof of stake. So they only had 396 here in September. And now in October was 307. So it's kind of what I figured was going to happen with them. We had the Ethereum mining through almost the half of the month. So that helped them out a little bit here in September. And then it's completely gone here for the most part in October, except for some altcoins that are mining. They're giving him a little bit 45 BTC per month, which still isn't bad. Excuse me, I had to take a sip of water because my throat's getting dry. So they said that they have 115 BTC per exahash I came up with 0.91, which is 91, almost 92 bitcoins per exahash. I think they're calculating it a little bit differently than the way I am right now. And that is also 89 less than the prior month of September bitcoins mined. And if we combine the two, that is almost 211 from where they were. So that is a big dip in it. That is no, it's not 2/3. Would it be 2/3? It would be, yeah, it would be like 2/3 less, or 1/3 less than what they mined in August, 518 here. So that is a big dip in their income from 11.6 million to 6 million in just 2 months. That hurts. So they did sell some BTC, 296. It looks like in October for proceeds of 5.8 million roughly, and they still hodl obviously 3,311 bitcoins. Now the miners that we installed in October were, let's see, where did they go? They were down here, 20. So we had 815 of these 98 terahash miners to get us to the number that they reported of having 2.38 exahash right now. And that corresponds with the number that we have in revenue, 6 million. And we have, I believe, 6 million up here. Yep. So those numbers are matching up right now. Institution-wise, institutions stayed the same. Shares did fall a little bit to 7.8 million from 8 million. And percentage owned fell a little bit as well from 9.72 to 9.54. As far as analyst ratings, we still have 1 strong buy rating, 1 buy rating, 0 hold, 0 underperform, and 0 sell. High, average, and low stay the same at $7 right now, so that's all fine and dandy. Now, looking at the numbers that they do have, we're using the current quarter of the end of September, which is 29 million that I'm estimating right now. I did get pretty close on Riot. I was only off by 1.6%, so we're pretty close on that. Looking to see where we are with them for their self-mining. And we're using the 3 quarters prior to that, so that would be Q2, Q1, and Q4 of 2021 to come up with 191 million in revenue for them. And if we're using 50% net income from gross revenue with a P of 15, $17.78, I think they might go a little bit higher since they are growing a little bit. And if Bitcoin starts running on us, if Bitcoin starts going up, they could easily get a 20 PE ratio on it. So $23 to $35 kind of where I'm looking for them. But more towards on the lower end here, I think, right now. Some of their efficiencies from the GPU mining are gone. It's now basically all ASIC miners in Bitcoin. So that's kind of where I have them right now. We'll see how they end up in the next couple months. It's going to be nice for them to get the Intel miners installed. Like more details on those. If they can provide it, that would be great once they start getting those installed. What is their terahash per miner? What is their watts? That would help out greatly as well to know that information, since they are purpose-built for them. And otherwise, we just want to see them continue to grow. They do have some cash on hand. It might be a good time to take advantage of the market that we're in right now, with miners being way down. All right, so that is it. Otherwise, pretty decent, stable, I could say, for the month. We need more growth. Is what I'm looking for. Okay, next is going to be Iris Energy. Iris Energy is pretty quick. They gave us some nice pictures of Mackenzie construction progress. We have miners repairing in the maintenance shop. We also have Childress concrete slab pour, aerial view of their 600 megawatt at Childress as well, and donation to 4-H clubs, drone donation to high school. So good things there. They're doing good things. But here's the key things that we're looking at. So average operating hash rate was 3.9 exahash. That's the average. So where they started the month at, where they ended the month at, this is the average. So they are probably a little bit higher than that right now. It would have been nice for them to provide the actual, end of October numbers. And I keep saying this every time they do this. Bitcoin mined was 448, which is a nice increase from September. Revenue was 8.7 million for that, and electricity cost was about 4.1. So almost 45%, 50%, right around that number is what we're looking at right now. And you can see it here with the revenue per Bitcoin. It was 19,000 1,591. Electrical cost per Bitcoin was 9,003. So almost 50% on that. Okay, let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them, and we will call this a day. Okay, let's zoom this in for you guys so you guys can see it better. So Iris Energy shares outstanding 54, almost 55 million. Stock price is $2.79. Market cap 153 million. And their 52-week high was $28.25. So obviously way off of that. Current hash rate 3.9 exahash. Future hash rate is going to be 6 exahash. They are 64% operational right now, and it represents about a 53% increase in their current to future hash rate to get to 6 exahash. Number of miners, 40,000 roughly. Hash rate, average per miner is 97 terahash, which is good. BTC HODL, they don't have a BTC HODL. They sell everything that they mine. Looking at their BTC production, we can see that they have been growing quite nicely, which is shocking to me that they have $7 million in debts that they have to pay every single month to cover that expense, and they're not covering it. They're having a hard time covering it. But January they had 126, February 110 BTC, March 121, April 137, May 151, June was 148, July 154, August was 301, September was 325, October was 448. They've had pretty consistent growth here, with the exception of a couple months where they were down a little bit from the prior month. But for the most part, they've had really consistent growth here. And it's a shame that they're struggling and possibly might be returning those miners. But we won't know for sure until they work everything out and they provide us some release as far as if they were able to negotiate some terms with their lenders to maybe extend the loans, or if they're going to be returning the miners. We just don't know. So we are where we are right now. And they generated about $8.8 million in revenue. That is their best month yet this year for revenue is concerned. So they are doing all the right things. It's just they're heavily indebted on the miners, unfortunately. But we'll see how they can get out of it. And I'm rooting for them to get out of this. And let's see, that is all the information we have there. Here's what we got installed for October. October we got installed. They had pretty huge growth here. 11,618 miners roughly installed. The 100 terahash miners, they got us another 1.16 roughly exahash installed. So it's a huge month for them. If we look up here, I think it might be one of their best months for installations are concerned. Yep. So 11,618. Their prior best was in August of 10,609. So that is a huge achievement there for them. And that got us to $8.8 million in revenue, which matches up over here. Institution-wise, institutions did increase, but we'll see if that stays the way it is or if it's going to change. We did have some changes here. But institutions increased to 45 from 41. Shares increased also from 12.9 to 3.2. Percentage owned increased to 24.16 from 23.52, which is great. Strong buy. We had one person leave, or one analyst leave from the strong buy rating and move over to just leave, I guess, because we only have 7 instead of 8 analysts. Buy ratings is 3 now, hold is 2. Excuse me. And the price targets are $14 for the high, $8.13 for the average, and $4.30 for the low, which is a little bit higher for the average, and the low is the same along with the high on that one. Now, the numbers aren't going to be reflective of what's going on in this current quarter, because this current quarter we're looking at Bitcoin stays where it's at. We're looking at 25 million for them, which is a really nice increase from 15 million in Q3. But we just don't know yet where that's going to play out. So we are still only using the current quarter, the Q3, and the prior 3 quarters for that. So we're looking at 50% net income from gross revenue. We're looking at $12.39, and then 75% net income from gross revenue. We're looking at $18.58, but we know that their electrical cost is about 50% on that alone. So they are at, I would say, $12.39. If Bitcoin starts going back up, it's kind of where I'd be looking for them to finish out. And they're at $2.25 right now. So, final thoughts on Iris Energy. So, this is one of the stocks that I was going to get into before the news came out that they are having a hard time paying off their special purpose vehicles, investment vehicles that they call them, for the different tranches that they have of miners bought. They need $7 million, I believe it's $7 million a month just to pay that debt They obviously aren't generating that except for this month in October. And they were in negotiations and holding, they were putting a pause on payments for two weeks, I believe, to have discussions with the lenders to see what they come out. Until we get a final and a satisfactory conclusion to this, I'm holding off. I'm hoping that they get this resolved because I really did want to invest in them. This was going to be would have been my fourth company that I invested: Hive, CleanSpark, and Bitfarms. But I've always wanted to dollar cost average down more on Bitfarms and CleanSpark before I started getting into them. Kind of nice that it worked out this way. It's that I was able to find this information out before I invested in them. But nonetheless, the stock is still not doing that bad considering the bad news that came out last week. So they've had tremendous and phenomenal growth over the last year. Would love to see that continue. They were supposed to get to about 15 exahash by next year. That has been put on pause. I'm hoping if they get this resolved with the lenders, whatever the case might be, whether they have to return the miners or something like that, that they can continue their growth as planned to possibly go to 15 exahash sometime next year or the following year, if that's the case. But that's just my final thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys thought, obviously, of Hive and of Iris Energy's production numbers for October. And that's it. Spreadsheets available to my Patreon members. As always, thank you to everyone there for the continued support. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next one.